G'day folks, welcome to an OCC Queensland Daily Weather Wrap today, the 16th of the 2nd, 2023. My name's Chris Nitzo. This update brought to you by our major sponsor, TownsvilleSheds.com. Check them out if you're in the market for a shed, safe, accredited shed. Woohoo! What a start to this rain event across northeast Queensland. Wowee, 50 to 150s right across this coastal fringe, all the way from basically just south of Innisfail all the way to Cape Melville. How good's that? Look at that blanket of orange. Now, you don't often see that in the region. You tend to see little splotches of orange and red, and then you see lots of splotches of nothingness. But look at that widespread rainfall right around the northeast coast. Also nice to see the tablelands getting a bit of a touch up as well. Tinaroo Dam's over already, so good. Well, it'll be interesting to see how much more of this good rain will fall into the tablelands and further increase those levels. You can also see it's not just about northeast Queensland, northwest Queensland out here in the western parts of the Carpentaria, western parts of the Cape region, I should say, and eastern parts of the Carpentaria region doing very, very well with falls in the 50 to 100 millimetre range. Not that they particularly need it right now. They've had a big wet season in this area, and they've had multiple flood warnings being issued for this region for many, many days of this wet season. So I don't think they're particularly interested in getting another 100 mils. Anyway, moral of the story, thanks to the Bureau of Meteorology there for this chart. We can see lots of rain, lots of places. Fantastic. Bureau have also got a severe weather warning out for northeast Queensland and northwest Queensland around the Gulf country. We were expecting a low pressure system to hit the coast around Morno and just southwest of Morno this evening and tonight. And the expectation is we're going to see rainfall gradually spread southwards through this region into northwest Queensland over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're going to continue with our moderate to heavy rainfall across northeast Queensland and might even spread that southwards a touch as well. But quite clearly there, these are our big hotspot of rainfall for the next 24 hours. Right, so there's our low to the north of Morno, just up there. There he is. You can see on the eastern side creating lots of rain. On the southern side, we're starting to get some nice showers and storms too as we interact with the mainland there and create a bit of extra squeezing as we squeeze the air between the low and the landmass. We're also seeing convergent flows into the northeast coast of Queensland, and we're also seeing widespread light to moderate rainfall through northern central inland Queensland, as well as some showers and storms up around the Cape. There's a lot happening, isn't there? From a wind perspective, our low as it drifts southwards today, it's expected to make landfall sometime this evening and tonight. Just the exact timing of landfall, look, it really doesn't matter, but the exact timing of landfall is a little bit all over the shop with regards to the models just because of the elongated nature of the low. Overall, we can see on the eastern side of that system, we're creating some pretty strong winds, particularly just offshore. You can see northeasterlies and north-northeasterlies getting up to about 25 to 30 knots sustained at times in that area between the low and the mainland. Also on the east coast, you'll notice southeasterlies turn easterlies and northeasterlies here with 15 to 20 knots intensities. So there's some pretty strong winds coming in from the east in the east coast, and there's some pretty strong winds coming in from the north-northeast in the west coast of Queensland. And on top of that, you'll notice that the monsoon continues to crank through the northern parts of northwest Queensland. From a rainfall perspective, look, we know what the general rain is going to be. We know that there's going to be widespread heavy falls across the Gulf country and northwest Queensland eventually by tomorrow morning. We know that there's going to be widespread heavy falls around northeast Queensland by tomorrow morning. The problem that we're facing is pinpointing the exact areas of some of the really intense stuff. Now, you can see in this situation, looking at some of the more intense stuff between Cairns and the Daintree, in this model guidance, we can see that really intense stuff around that northwest Queensland zone and close to the Cooktown coast and near Tully. So you can see how they're slightly differing. And in this situation, you can see the best rainfall upwards of 200s around the Cairns to Tully coastline. So the exact point of which where we're expecting the really heavy falls, that does differ, and differ by a fair way, depending on the computer model you're using. But the general consensus is widespread moderate to heavy falls are expected across northeast Queensland, particularly north of Townsville over the next 24 hours. But we will start to see those rainfalls spread southwards too, and we will see increasing showers in the Herbert-Burdekin region as well, even though probably not quite the intensity of the stuff further northwards. We're also expecting, as I mentioned, lots of heavy rain around the Gulf country and parts of northwest Queensland, spreading to parts of northwest Queensland by tomorrow morning. And we're also expecting to see lots of light to moderate rain in between those two areas, in between the northeast coast and in between the northwest coast. Outside of those main areas of interest, a couple of showers around the Mackay coastline, a couple of showers and storms up here in the Cape, and the Cape ones could be quite squally as well associated with the monsoon. And hey, this rain event isn't over at the end of tonight. There's plenty more to come Friday, plenty more to come Saturday, plenty more to... Let me try that again. Plenty more to come Saturday, plenty more to come Sunday. So there's plenty of rain to come. If you haven't got it yet, doesn't mean you're not going to get it. And remember, just because you didn't get the big rain doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's not about your backyard, it's about the region. And the region is going to get quite a lot of heavy rain over the next 2 to 4 days. All right, just remember, we've got a subscription service. We've got in that subscription service much more in-depth details about when rain, where rain, why rain, and how much rain. If you're interested, join.ozcyclonechasers.com.au. Check out our subscription options. Thanks for watching, and enjoy that glorious rain.